Welcome back. It's 5 minutes with KeRusso. Let's jump into this quest in the Gospel of John. As you're reading through the Gospel of John, you're highlighting different words, different phrases, or different colors of ink or color markers or pencils. Your the word signs, the word life, the word believe, or it could be faith in your translation, and the phrase I am. Now, the reason why you're doing that is you're just kind of surfacing information right now. You're picking up on threads that John uses as he weaves throughout his gospel. So don't worry about trying to figure it out yet. You're just trying to locate these words. We'll talk about those next week. You're going to be able to discover some things by identifying these threads. And there's these little jewels of an insight knowledge you can see all throughout John's gospel. In fact, I want to share one with you this morning just to kind of give you a taste of what's lying ahead for you. In the last chapter of John, in chapter 21, there's this account of an encounter between Jesus and Peter. John is the only one who writes about this. It's Jesus and Peter, the first time they've met after Jesus has been killed, arrested, killed, and buried, and now raised from the dead. A lot of bad stuff has happened in Peter's life. Jesus had told him that Peter would deny him 3 times, not once, but 3 times. Peter said, "There's no way I'll do that. I'll die for you." And not only did he fail on that, I mean, he deserted Jesus, and then he denied him the 3 times that Jesus said would happen. That's pretty heavy stuff to be living with, pretty heavy memory. And now they meet for the first time since Jesus has been raised from the dead. And you got to imagine Peter's wondering what's going to happen. What's Jesus going to say to him? So you have this encounter where Jesus, after breakfast, he focuses on Peter. And this starts in verse 15 of 21, chapter 21. And he asks Peter, says, "Do you love me?" And Peter says, "Yes, I love you." But Jesus asked him 3 times that question, "Do you love me?" Peter says, "Yes." "Do you love me?" Peter says, "Yes." "Do you love me?" And then Peter's hurt. He says, "You know everything. You know I love you." And people are trying to figure out what's going on with this conversation here. Why is this happening? Now, some people have gone back and they've looked at the Greek language, which is a good thing to do. And they've noticed that Jesus uses one word for love and Peter uses another. And then eventually Jesus starts using Peter's word. And they draw this conclusion that Peter's not able to come up to Jesus' kind of love, so Jesus comes down to Peter's kind of love. And it all sounds really insightful and really helpful. The only problem with that is that's not what John's doing. Now, it's good to ask those questions, good to dig in there, but you need to do some more digging. And if you happen to know the original language of Greek, and you go back and you read the Gospel of John in Greek, you'll know that John uses those 2 words for love interchangeably. He doesn't make a distinction between the two, not the kind of distinction that we try to make. In fact, if you look at the story here, this encounter in chapter 21, sometimes Jesus will talk about lambs, sometimes he'll talk about sheep. He's not talking about these lambs growing up and becoming sheep. He's not trying to make a distinction. He's just using different words. And he might talk about feeding them or taking care of them. Again, he's just interchanging different words. That's just how John writes. So the different kinds of love, the 2 different words for love, is not what John's point is. But what is it? What's going on in this text? Well, what's going on in the text is fairly simple. The last memory that Peter has is of denying Jesus 3 times. 3 times. Now Jesus is replacing that with a memory. Instead of him denying Jesus 3 times, he's going to affirm his love for Jesus 3 times. This is going to be the stronger memory. Jesus is giving Peter a way back in, where he can unload this baggage of how he failed Jesus of denying him the 3 times, and to be able to replace that with this other memory of, "I love you, I love you, I love you." That's what's happening with this text. It's a little thing, but again, pretty big, because you think about this. What have you and I have done disappoint Jesus? And what kind of baggage are we carrying? Isn't it good to know that we follow a Jesus, a Lord, who knows how to reach out to us specifically, to draw us back in, to remind us that we are still loved? That's what's happening here. And I wanted you to see that. And these are the kind of things that you're going to be able to discover in John's Gospel if you'll spend time in it. And I really want to encourage you to do this. We're going to get back on Monday and we'll start looking at those words that you've been highlighting. Keep reading and we'll get into what you're going to discover and what you can do with it. If you have any questions, just send me an email at booksbykerusso@gmail.com or post a note on this post here. God bless you and you take care.